Hello, Mark Walsh here from the Embodied Facilitator course and the Embodiment conference. So these are my top tips for stress management and general well-being in these crazy times we find all ourselves in. And I potentially have or had the virus myself, and these are some of the things I've been doing for myself. I want to be clear, this is not in exchange for, shouldn't be used instead of any kind of medical advice. I take the advice of normal Western doctors who I call up and I wash my hands and do all the normal kind of precautions we're advised to do. So these are things that are additional to that. So this isn't, medical advice. I'm not qualified to give that. However, I am pretty well qualified in the body mind arts. This is something I've been involved with for 20 years. I've interviewed on my podcast, for example, 250 people across the spectrum. So I want to give some sense of the breadth of some of the practices we could be doing. I think there's a very good case to be made that fear is something which is bad for our immune system, that stress is bad for our immune system. This is something which is well known. So while people shouldn't be blasé, perhaps, reducing our stress levels can certainly be helpful. I myself, when I was worried about, I had some shortness of breath and I was worried about the virus, really found myself in a lot of fear. I had to isolate, and it was like, oh my God, I'm on my own, couldn't even see my wife, and having a lot of the techniques I have available to me was very helpful at that time. So I hope this is helpful to other people too. Most basic one, meditation. Some form of meditation could be a mindfulness of breath meditation, easy to find online. Pay attention to your breathing as you breathe in and out. When your mind drifts, come back to the sensations of breath. Metta meditation, M-E-T-T-A, sometimes called loving kindness meditation, or universal kindness, universal friendliness meditation. This seems to be particularly good at combating fear. Some people say it has a positive effect on the immune system too. I don't know the evidence base for that. Certainly it's one I find helpful. You use phrases like, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be at ease, but just Google my other videos or anyone's videos on Metta, M-E-T-T-A meditation. Okay, this brings us to breathing exercises. Now there's a number of these you could do. For example, the Wim Hof breathing, the famous Iceman, I've been using this. Could raise temperature, so maybe not good if you've got hot temperature, but again, may have positive effects on the immune system. I certainly find it energizing if you find yourself a bit depressed by this whole situation, and that's a breathing like this. You can see tutorials online by people like my friend Tim and Wim himself on this. Normally I do 4 sets of 30 breaths like that with a breath hold on the out breath at the end. Again, this is an overview, so you can look up videos on that. Other kinds of breath work I like lengthening the out breath, there's the alternate nostril breathing where I, for example, will breathe in for 8, then out for 16. That's quite long. Some people might do like a 4 and 8 in to out breath, and this seems to be, and there's good evidence based on this, increases carbon dioxide, reduces your stress levels. Generally, if you find yourself getting anxious about this whole situation, a good one to do, either with the alternative nostrils or just lengthening the out breath. The Navy SEALs use what's called box breathing. I've come across this in Systema as well, Russian martial arts, which is breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, holding on the out breath for 4. That's another one that seems to be pretty good for stress. As I said, the Navy SEALs swear by that apparently. So there's other breathing exercises out there. There's some of the basic ones I would recommend. It's got meditation, breathing exercises, movement. So any kind of movement is good for releasing stress in the body. Stress gets held as tension in the body. I'm sure you've all experienced this after even just a tough day's work, when you had tension in your shoulders, for example, tension in the jaw. Dance, move, something like fire rhythms or open floor movement medicine, these conscious dance forms. You might not be able to go and do that with a group of people now, but there are groups online, and there's just, you can just shake it out and move. For me, a little bit of daily dancing is very helpful. Basic joint mobilization, qigong type exercises. Now you can go into the energetic effects of these, and there's some people that have done like qigong for the immune system or qigong for the lungs. That's C-H-I and then kung or gung, depending on how it's spelled. So there's more esoteric energy levels, but even just basic movements, I like mobilizing the spine, swinging the hips, a bit of arm swinging. Those kind of basic movements I find very helpful. So any kind of movement, good. Dancing, qigong movements. Of course, we've got yoga. Some people will swear by the sort of more rigorous kinds of yoga. Again, you can do that in a confined space. You need a yoga mat, or not even that sometimes. So this is something you can do in your own home or a hotel if you're isolated. Yoga seems there's lots of good online yoga. Just look up online yoga classes. There's things like Yoga Glow that you can pay for. There's lots of free ones. Like, is it Yoga with Adrian? Is it on YouTube? Lots of good ones. There's more yang styles, and then again the restorative yoga. So restorative or yin is slightly different cousins, if you will. I like to do this. This is what I was doing when I was at my most ill. Is laying in positions for a long time. I find some of these can like open up the lungs in a nice way too, and certainly, you know, just slowing down into a restorative mode for someone like me who's quite wired anyway, very, very helpful. The other thing I've been doing regularly is TRE, trauma releasing exercises. David Baselli. There's a certain shaking exercises you can do. I won't demo now. Very, very helpful for shaking out some of the stress, particularly when I was at my most worried. Super useful. Any kind of shaking, there's other techniques out there, but the TRE exercises you can do on your own at home, very easy to do. And again, there's things online, there's an app you can get for trauma releasing exercise or tension releasing exercises. Okay, so we've gone stretching, moving, breathing. I mean, I like the cold showers and the ice baths myself. That's another Wim Hof one, said to be good for the immune system, who knows. Certainly made me feel invigorated and had some sense of sort of cleaning me out at the time. Okay, what else? I mean, there's other forms like the martial arts, katas, self-touch. You'll see acupuncture points. There's certain videos on that you can look up. Other alternative health methodologies, self-massage, self-care pose, I think is a good one for anxiety. Yeah, anything which builds a sense of self-care, resilience, and reduces that fight-flight response, which can kick in and then compromise our immune systems, I think can only be a good thing. So there are some of my top tips. Loads more on the Embodiment Conference Facebook group, lots more being discussed, and there's other people that have made videos like this, so thank you for those people that inspired me to put this one together, and there's lots more good stuff out there. So as again, not medical advice, not instead of washing our hands, which I've literally just done, not instead of, you know, taking any medications or doctor's advice, but things that we can use to supplement, if nothing else, to stay feeling sane and happy and well if we're in isolation or, you know, on our own. So super helpful. Thank you. Stay safe, so well.